Hey, hey, do we have contact? That's a good sign. It is January 6th, Thursday night, the year 2000, first year of the millennium. Now, we didn't know whether we were going to have trouble with the satellite uplink or the downlink or the telecasting or the transfers or if we were going to have problems at all. But just to make sure, I produced this show at the end of 1999. And what it is, it's suggestions for solving Y2K problems the practical sportsman way. Stay tuned. Let's just say that you did have Y2K problems and you're having trouble finding a place to live. Okay, let's go back to basics, the practical sportsman way. All you need is an old house trailer to start and an outhouse. Honestly, it's a great way to go because it works fine up in Menominee County for a deer camp. What does this camp represent?
Well, this is a typical camp where a lot of guys, they start out with a trailer or a small one-room camp, and then their kids start growing up or more guys come to camp. They add on to it, build off the end, and then maybe a little bit later they'll build on a lean-to or a porch where you can put your card table out there, refrigerator, a grill, and kind of view more windows, view what's going on.
So this is one of those that started off as it looks like a tremendously old style mobile home.
Correct.
In fact, what did we call them in those days? House trailers.
There you go.
On the wheels. Look at that. And now it's turned into a deer camp.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Shower inside. They have an outhouse here.
A shower inside, but an outhouse.
Yes. You gotta have to take a shower. It could be clean for camp.
Well, okay. However you
a
want to do it.
A couple of weeks of deer camp, you know, your buddies are nice, but they start to stink.
But I mean, is an indoor toilet out of the question?
Well,
or is it part of the aura? What's the deal?
Part of the aura. There you go. Huh. But you start out with a trailer like this, and you just kind of grow out of it. The kitchen's in this half of it, and a bedroom, and then you work your way that way. It's more of a living area where you have all your deer heads and mounts, a couple couches, TV. And then out here is where most of the card playing and eating takes place.
TV antenna,
yes.
Gas grill, all that stuff, shower, and an outhouse. I'm still perplexed by the outhouse.
You're in the UP.
Okay. Whatever that means. Not bad. Not good. But not bad. That's your basic Y2K solution. Now just say you live near a big river and the computers in the dam pooped out, so water's all over everything and you're concerned about flooding your house. The solution? Back to Menominee County for a deer camp. It's one that you could put up on stilts. You could watch the Lions and the Packers while you're at it. This is somebody's hunting camp right here, but it's a farmhouse. And this is one style, I guess, of obtaining a hunting camp, is to buy a farm that may be worked a little bit by somebody who rents it out. But this is a unique, very unique type of hunting camp, huh, Craig?
Yes. Don bought this. It was an old farmhouse, about 100 years old. And instead of tearing it down and demolishing it and starting from scratch, he just remodeled the inside and the outside. And he did a little work on the barns also. But he's a big Packer fan, and he just started hunting about 2 or 3 years ago, and he's not too big on roughing it, and he built his own blind. We'll call it a tree blind, platform blind.
Elevated platform.
Elevated blind, yes. But he doesn't like missing the Packer games, so he's got a TV antenna, and he watches the games while he hunts.
We're not talking rabbit ears. You can see that sucker from here. It looks like about a 15-foot long TV antenna. Of course, on the farmhouse here, check that out up in the corner. We got a satellite dish, so he can catch all of the games. And of course, his little sign right there, Packer parking only. Ooh, die-hard Packer fan and deer hunter. This elevated hunting platform, or TV tower, depending on how you look at it, is 15 steps in the air with a rear deck. It's a football viewing room with a spectacular view. Oh, wow. Wow, look at this. This is incredible. This has got to be warm. Heated, elevated. I know what you're thinking. With a view like this, the deer don't have a chance. But think about this a minute. Put yourself in the position of a deer that might be tempted to walk beside this Wall Street-style hunting blind to come out and feed in the farm field. Why should a deer be concerned? I mean, hunters blow grunt calls, they use rattling antlers, and use all kinds of trickery to try to fool deer. But how could a hunter watch for deer when the deer hears this noise coming from a hunting blind?
Here is Stewart on first down, and Stewart shoves his way for 6 out to the 44-yard line, fighting his way out to the 44.
Well, let's say now your concern is more about the utilities, the electricity, the gas, the power, all that. The solution is to run dual types of appliances in your cabin or your house. Now, I learned that up at Camp No-See-Um in the UP. This is a street sign, but it's out in the middle of the woods here in Menominee County. Camp No-See-Um is the name of this camp. You know, we call this a camp. It's sort of like RVing and, quote, camping over the years. It isn't necessarily a camp with an outhouse and all that. This is actually a brand new cabin, and we're going to take a look inside there. But the interesting thing, while you're right out here, is the shape of that like a barn. I guess that's a hip roof style or something like that. That has a specific function of providing a lot more room inside. But this camp is on 400 acres of land up here in Menominee County, where the owner of this has made food plots here and there, and you can see these. This will be developed into a food plot. Over here is a field with some hay. There's rye, things like that throughout the woods. In fact, right here, Matt, check this out. This is not considered a bait pile. Should baiting ever be banned, I don't know what they're going to do about the apple trees and the apples that fall. But up here, this is an area where they do some baiting in some areas, but often rely on the fields like this to attract the deer in, and they oftentimes do concentrate and feed in the fields. But let's go check inside here as to what it's a rustic camp. It's not like your Holiday Inn, your modern facility, but it has the aura of an old-time hunting camp. Well, this is the cabin, and it has the characteristic of a cabin in that the downstairs here is pretty much open. A stairwell goes up here, knotty pine on the walls, which, I don't know, if you're an outdoor type person, that's cool. There's a shower and a bathroom, a sink. Now, for the lights here, there are electric lights with bulbs in them. Now, if the power goes out, you got gas, LP gas, which can power these, sort of like a Coleman lantern with a mantle. If that goes out, you always have the windows. You can let light in. But there's a refrigerator here. Of course, deer on the wall. Check this one out, Matt. Whoa, that's a big bruiser. Came from Menominee County up here. Some nice deer racks. And for cooking, this is sort of rustic. There's a gas stove, LP gas. Of course, that's good to cook on, but what if you run out of gas? Check this out. This is an old wood-burning gas stove. Actually put wood in there, stoke it up, and you can cook. What is that, an Enterprise? Never heard of it. Sort of an antique. Anyway, let's check out the upstairs, which is the bunkhouse. Bottom floor is the living quarters. The top floor is the sleeping quarters. Bunkhouse, again, all knotty pine on the walls. Now, I told you about the hip roof style outside that looks like a barn. Well, the advantage here is that the walls and the roof are at a steep angle, which provides a lot more room up here on the second story. And they've economized on this space. They have 6 bunk beds. Well, 3 bunk beds, 6 bunks here. But this style of bunk bed is kind of interesting. It's a single bed on the top, double bed on the bottom, angles on the side there to fit into the wall. Very economical. Provides plenty of sleeping. We got 6 beds there, 1 bed here. This is the evening. Wake up in the morning, sun is coming up. Maybe from the moonlight you could spot some deer moving along the edge of the field. This is Camp No-See-Um up in Menominee County, 400 acres. Quite a modern deer camp. Deer camps come in different shapes, different sizes, different colors, different electronic configurations, and different fabrics. The question is, what is deer camp all about anyway?
That's just the guys. Frankie, who owns the place, and the guys that get together. We all hunt at different camps for rifle season, and we get together for muzzleloading season and play some cards and exchange stories, and it's great.
You get any deer?
Sometimes. Sometimes we go out hunting.
Which is your bed up there?
The closest one I fall into at the end of the night.
I see. So it's a relaxing time, warm enough?
Yeah. Oh yeah, very warm. Matter of fact, sometimes we open the windows with the wood burner going and the gas stove going. It gets pretty hot in there.
Huh. Who cooks?
Everybody takes a share of it, but mainly Irvy, who's about 70 years old. He takes care of all the cooking for us.
That's Irvy. It's Frankie's place.
Yeah.
Craig comes up here to be
Relax.
the social director.
Yep. I'm the one who wins at all the card games.
I just showed you 3 practical sportsman ways to cope with, I suppose, more primitive conditions if Y2K is some sort of big problem. But those are for places to live. Just say you're basically homeless. So what the heck you gonna do? I tell you, practical sportsmen have the answer. We got this answer up on Lake Cadillac back in 1995, ice fishing with Charlie Keenan, who showed us how to have gourmet meals out on the ice. Most of us don't have the luxury of choosing our vacation days by the weather. We have to take what Mother Nature dishes out. It is to those hard-working sportsmen who fish when they can that this show is dedicated. 18 hours ago, the lake you're looking at had water on it, about a half a foot of water, and there were waves here. This morning, we woke up and the temperature plummeted. It's dropped probably 30 or 40 degrees. The wind is howling. The wind chill is just obscene, terribly cold, but we're going to try ice fishing anyway. And look, folks, I got a new spud. Everybody thinks I'm nuts, but I got a first of its kind spud, which should be just really mean getting through the ice. The ice out here is about 1.5 feet thick, but I'm determined to spud a hole anyway. We have Matt Radzilowski, the fine-looking young man in all the clothes he owns, he's wearing right now. Charlie Keenan, incognito.
Who is that man?
Who is that masked man? We have the sleds loaded up. We don't know what's going to happen. We're going to try to get a story on some tip-up fishing. There's nobody else on this lake fishing right now, but we got our sleds loaded. We're planning on having breakfast out on the ice if we can hold the shanty down so it doesn't blow away. So, hang with us, folks. This is an adventure, one we're not going to soon forget. Lake Cadillac, the destination of our planned and advanced fishing trip. We got up here the night before, knowing the weather might not be great, but holy cow, this was ridiculous, but not too ridiculous to cancel our plans. We put up some portable ice fishing shanties, then tried to figure out how we'd keep them from blowing away.
Well, Matty had a good idea here to tie this thing down to this other shanty.
Yeah.
Does that go in the middle?
Yeah, one of these ends have a screw on it. I think my end right up here.
This one? Where?
Right up top, right in the center.
Yeah, so what is that?
No, it's Charlie's end. The end that's not curved goes over by Charlie.
Okay. We have a revised plan, Maddie. We're not going to try to anchor it by putting the anchor upwind and holding it that way because we're afraid it's going to slide back and forth. We're going to use this guy's shanty and put, because the wind's blowing so hard, as a sort of a backstop and let it blow up against the shanty. What do you think? Let's try it here, Charlie. Pickett from Marion, thank you for letting us use the side of your shanty for just a couple hours. Man, this wind is fierce. Whoa! There we go. Hey, I think this is going to work. What do you think about this, Charlie?
All right.
Now we can hold it. let's turn this around so we can do the ice fishing holes on the upwind side, okay? We're gonna spin this, man. There we go. Oh, you want to do that a little bit there, Matt? Yeah, let's just do a little scooping. Hold this baby over. There, it should be about like that.
Oh, you're right on the
How
money.
is that?
Right on the money.
We're on the money here? Yep. We'll get these scooped out. Yeah, this will be a lot better in here. There we go. Oh, very cool. Look at this. Look at this, folks. This is going to be the most exciting part right here. We have the cast frying pans. We have the gas stove. In this ice chest, we have bacon, eggs, corned beef hash. We're having us a regular buffet. Oh, this is going to be tasty. And we're off to the races. Oh, this is pretty cool. Oh. There's a little perch down here. They're right that they're small, like about 6 inches. But I can see when I'm jigging, I can see the minnow. I have about a foot off the bottom, and every now and then a little perch comes in and grabs it. Almost had one a minute ago. We came to the Cadillac area to fish Lake Mitchell for pike. However, the wind and driving snow on Lake Mitchell was worse than this, so we picked the most protected area we could find on the northeast shore of Lake Cadillac. Now, our goal originally was to catch pike on tip-ups. However, the minnows were freezing in the bait bucket. They could barely move, which was exactly the condition of Matt's fingers as well. Actually, no living body was moving very well today, including the fish under the ice. Now, like most sportsmen, we are not able to choose the weather in advance, but we are required to choose our fishing days in advance. That means we'll take whatever Mother Nature dishes out. I tell you, it's nice to lay down when you ice fish. This is like deer hunting. Get a little sleep. And right over your shoulder there, Johnny, the bacon, the smell of the bacon is wafting in here as I'm watching perch.
Oh, we're getting there. We got the bacon and the hash going. It takes a little longer to cook it in this type of cold and wind.
Yeah, but it won't take any longer to eat it. Guaranteed. One perch, small perch. Very small perch dinking around with the minnow. I think, now these perch are so small that my minnow is intimidating them. That's how small they are. But they come up and nip at it. Every now and then there's one about 5 or 6 inches long that will take it out, they're looking right at it. Ah, this is fun. Hee hee hee. Oh, 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 I got one. I think I got one on. I think I got one. I got one. I got a perch. It's a huge perch. Whoa, look at the size of it. Ha! I tell you, these are hungry perch taking a minnow about a third their size. Now this is what you call catch and release. Look at that, Johnny. I hooked it right in the mouth. We could probably use this for bait on the tip-ups. But that's it. I caught a fish. It's very cold. They said it couldn't be done. Now, hold it. Sue wanted to see the fish we caught. But these perch are of no commercial value. We do have the picture of it, so back in the hole it goes. What do we got here, Charles?
Well, we've got the bacon cooking. It's a little bit slower in these temperatures, but it's cooking up nice, and the hash is almost ready. We're going to have a good meal in a little bit.
Oh! Huh? See, my minnow fell off of my teardrop. It fell off and I was watching it go down, and a decent-sized perch came and got it. Ah!
And here we go. Get your plate in there real close.
All
Don't
right.
lose any of this treasure. I don't mind my fingers, but you're going to get bacon. And
Yes, sir.
this is the famous hash. Now that's heavy.
That is heavy. I can see that. In fact, look at this. Mmm. Mmm. Step right up, Matt. Oh boy. Oh boy. And what a setting for a picnic, huh? This is great hash. And bacon and eggs. I tell you, this is like being back at camp, and I love it. We started this tradition of cooking our noon meal on the ice a few weeks ago, and it's turned into one of the highlights of our Friday fishing trips. It doesn't matter what the weather is, we're cooking a hot meal outdoors.
Anybody in there?
Yeah. Why? You don't want to come in, do you?
I feel heat.
Yeah, we really don't have room for anybody else but for two. It's quite snug. Matt and I just can't get in too much of an argument here. So we don't do any bickering. Oh, but this is pretty cool. Look, John, we got this lantern here just for the heat. Matt has his sidefinder graph, and we can actually see down to the bottom with it zipped up. And remember the camp stove that Charlie cooked breakfast on? Right underneath between our feet here.
Oh yeah.
We got one burner going, kicking up heat in the back. So with all this warmth inside when this is zipped down, ice doesn't form on the holes that we're fishing through, so it's pretty cool. And we can have our gloves off, actually have our ears exposed. Well, the only other guy we saw sitting out on the ice on Lake Cadillac did not have his ears exposed. And he didn't stay out there terribly long either, not as long as we did. When the wind is raw and the snow is blowing in your face, you have to have some kind of shelter or windbreak if you want to fish for more than an hour or so. Now, cooking a hot meal on the ice at noon is optional, but you know that camp stove can stay on all day. In fact, I warmed my hands over it until dark. I find that if I can keep one hand warm at a time, my whole body stays warmer. And I find I can take the mitten off the other hand as well. Now, our theory was that the longer we kept fishing, the greater our odds were of catching fish. And that's a pretty good theory, I think, under normal conditions. But when the barometer drops, like it did on this day, so does the fishing success. Well, notice I said success. I mean, just because the fish aren't biting doesn't mean you can't fish. We go fishing for the fun. It's the way it should be, don't you think?
How's the fishing in here, Charlie?
Now it's slow, little ones. That's it, just little perch. We've got about 10, 12 perch in the last 15 minutes. All too small.
Well, the fish may have been few and far between and pretty small besides, but we accomplished most of what we set out to do. We wanted to have a day of fishing on Lake Cadillac. We wanted to cook a big, hot breakfast of bacon, eggs, and corned beef hash right on the ice, and we wanted to laugh our way through the day despite the weather. Well, our tip-up story would just have to wait. Oh, just before dark, Rich Pickett from Marion, the guy who has the shanty that we use to keep ours from blowing away, he came out to chat with us. We told him we were coming back to fish Lake Mitchell on Friday, February 8th. Well, what's the weather going to be like on that day? We don't care. We don't need to catch our limit of fish to get our limit of fun. Well, that's our Y2K emergency show. I'm going to presume that things are copacetic now, and next week we can go back on the air with a regular show up on the satellite. We can have our guide report and all of the regular features. So I hope that's the case. Check us out on the website, presuming that's working right now, to find out what the latest details are. Otherwise, get outdoors, enjoy yourself. It's a great place to be. We'll see you next week.
Heads and mounts, a couple couches, TV. And then out here is where most of the card playing and eating takes place.
TV antenna,
Yes.
gas grill, all that stuff, shower, and an outhouse. I'm still perplexed by the outhouse.
You're in the UP.
Okay, whatever that means. Not bad. Not good, but not bad.